And who might you be?
You stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder. I love you.
I know.
Hello everyone and welcome to Frozen in Carbonite. It's time for another randomizer chat, so let's generate a number. 92. Right then, today's set is 92. It's a rebel set, it's blue squadron support. So it's a 5-1, limit 1 per objective deck, and it has the action focus this objective to have each friendly player look at the top 2 cards of his deck, add one of those cards to his hand and put the other at the bottom of his deck. So this came out during the dark time. So at the end of the Hoth cycle, which from memory ended at the end of 2013, around about September October time, because I think that was the Gen Con time, because I remember watching a Team Covenant video and they were talking about the last pack. Then we had the long wait for some cards to come out, and the next cycle didn't actually start until the next year, in probably about March time. But in between that sort of like 6-month hiatus, which probably was the most detrimental point of this game for killing off a lot of the player base, because there were no new cards, they did release a box set, but it was the Balance of the Force box set, and probably a lot of people agree it probably wasn't needed right at the time. And from what I remember, I think it's probably came off the back of, because the game was originally like a cooperative multiplayer game, that they still wanted to put something out that turned Star Wars not from a 1v1 aggressor game, but more into a let's have like 2 teams. So in that box we've got the 2 challenge decks, which God, we could make a whole video about just talking about that. Not that I very rarely played it much. And then in that box you got 6 objective sets and they're all limit 1 for each of the factions. So this one was the Rebel one, and at the time, probably when you look at that box, the Jedi one was probably the most used because of the Wolfman, and then it was dirty. Everyone other set wasn't as much used, but back at the time, because this came off the back of the Hoth set and we didn't have many other cards, I think Blue Squadron support was a shoe-in for the speeder fighter decks that were going around at the time, mainly because of Attack Pattern Delta and how it interacted with some of the cards that are in here. So yeah, this is, you look at these limit 1 sets and you wish, wow, why couldn't that have been a 2 of, and I don't see why. And as we'll go through the cards, you'll find that some of the mechanics in here do play towards the multiplayer games. So the card effects not only affect you, but also affect either your opponents or your other friendly players. So but talking about this objective, and once again, lovely piece of art, and it's all about the Bwings. So yeah, focus this objective, so basically paying 1 cost to draw potentially 2 cards. So you're looking at the top of your deck and you're looking for a good card. So the problem is with the Rebels at the time is you sort of had to flood the board with as many fighters as you could. So you're pretty much spending all your resources, and you were lucky if you could afford to keep this free. Secondly, and we'll get to this as we go on, Rebels were never good at edge, so they were either looking for trying to get in on unopposed so they could switch their icons on, because you'll find that a lot of Rebel icons were edge enabled, so that was nice for them, wasn't it? Give Rebels many edge enabled icons, but make them terrible at edge battles. And yeah, so paying 1 cost to get a card from the top of the deck might have helped in edge, but what were you really looking for is the problem. It's like, at the time, was there anything in your deck that was gonna help? The only other good thing about this was if you knew that your attack pattern delta wasn't firing, you could use this to take the top card off your deck, and then the following turn you could trigger attack pattern delta to look up. So it had some synergy and benefits to that. Anyway, moving on, we have Blue Leader, and he's a 3 cost 2 unit, 2 black bombs, and that's what I love about the Bwings, is they pack a punch. So 2 black bombs and 1 white gun. Vehicle fighter, and reaction after this unit is focused strike as an attacker, deal 1 damage to the target objective not currently engaged. So this was similar, or you get the synergy feel from Wedge, where if he goes in on 1 objective and you've got another one that's weak, you could possibly take out 2 objectives in 1 turn. If you could find out a way to get this guy to double strike, because this reaction is limited, he could do a bit of damage. So I'm wondering, nowadays with all the fighter decks, do people put blue leader in? So that's one to go, because there's so many rebel fighter sets now. It's a hodgepodge of how you want to go, what you want to do. Do you want to just have cheap fighters and stick loads out, or do you want to go down the pilot mechanic where the fighters are a bit more tougher, might hang around a bit longer, and such and such? But Blue Leader was a cool rebel unit, 3 cost 2 health, but he did the business. But because there's only one of him, you were lucky if you found him, and then you needed to keep him alive, and that was always a big problem. So next 2 cards are Bwings, and they were 2 cost 2 health. So 2 cost fighters was great because we love triggering with attack pattern delta, so getting these guys out was cool. But their icons, 1 black gun and 2 white bombs, so packed a punch, but like I said before, had to win edge battles, and winning edge battles was tough back in the day. Now, possibly, if you mix your deck up and have sort of fighters and then with some edge support, these guys might be a bit more deadly. But once again, there was only 2 of them, so seeing them as often as other cards was difficult, and I only got the 1 pip as well. So, and it's got reaction. After this unit is focused to strike, each other friendly player draws 1 card. And the problem with that is, if you're in a 2-player game, that's great because your friend gets to draw a card when this strikes, but because it says each other friendly player, you don't get to draw a card. And that were the Bwings. So yeah, pack a punch, but not very difficult to fire off and get their icons because you had to win edge battles. So the next card, and surprisingly a 3 pip card that would help you possibly win edge battles, is Rapid Fire. So it's a 1 cost. Play only during your turn, and action target up to 2 units, each controlled by different opponents. Deal 1 damage to each targeted unit. So it's basically dealing 1 damage in the regular game. Probably a lot more powerful in the multiplayer games. But a lovely piece of art, which I was told was from was it one of the X-Wing TIE Fighter games, or one of the games from old that artwork's from, but it's really cool. And but yeah, so powerful in the multiplayer, but probably got more used as the only good edge card in a fighter deck because it had 3 pips. So yeah, so that's where that's at. And then last but not least, and this was the first introduction of the this fake card, which is Supporting Fire, which once again didn't benefit rebels much because well, only if you probably had this card and you play Supporting Fire. This was probably one of the few large pip cards in the rebel deck to play this on top of. So yeah, this really worked well with Jedi because they had the high pip card. So you put 1 Supporting Fire in, make people think it's a twist, and it's not. It's a 1 pip, and then you just got to put in a card that helps you in edge battles. So it was a clever card, but it only really supported those with that could win edge battles a lot more easily, or had good amount of card draw and everything, which unfortunately rebels didn't have. So that's my quick overview of the Blue Squadron support. once again, at the time, it was all we had to play with. It was the only new cards. So I know these guys got played with a lot, but is there space for them now? Because it's limit 1, it might be easier just to slot them into a deck, but and then we would have to go back through all the pilots to see if any of the pilots synergize with putting them on Bwings. But yeah, nice little contained set. Like I say, more built for the balance of the force multiplayer support. But yeah, it was something back in the day, and I guess it'd be nice to bring it out and have a surprise. Maybe move away from the pilot synergy and go back to just pure blast, and hopefully put some more the better rebel edge support, and these guys could be could pack a punch. So I'll leave it there. Leave you to comment, critique, give you your memories on back in the day when you used this, or are you still using this now? Anyway, I'll end that video there, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.